So enjoy your day at the Capitol. Do I have time to take questions? I have to be at another meeting in like 7 minutes or so. Plus my chief of staff is there to make sure I get there on time.
I would like you to take questions.
Okay, I'll take 2 or 3. How many questions do I have time to take, Will? I have time for a couple questions.
And since we are recording this for videotape, if you could repeat the question,
Sure.
and if you could hold the mic a little closer.
Sorry.
Then we'll-
I have a big mouth, so I'm not used to using a mic all the time. She had her hand up first, and I'll come back over here.
My name is Ana Soler, and I'm with Earth Force. It's a nonprofit to train teachers to work with service learning in schools. My question is, how do you see the sustainability movement or the triple bottom line incorporating youth employment opportunities in grade 2 or green jobs?
The question was, how do we see a sustainable movement in terms of helping youth become involved in employment in the green economy and the new energy economy? Just to paraphrase it just a little bit so I can stay on message. And I think that we actually have to find ways to get, do I have to put it closer?
I think it might have been turned off.
Oh,
No? It just could be the mic.
I think it's the mic. It's on. Can you hear me okay? Okay. I think they need it. Okay, I'll speak up a little bit. One of the important things that we have to do is to make sure that our youth are prepared to function in this new economic environment that we find ourselves going into. One of the books that's influenced me most in terms of youth development is probably an unusual book, Thomas Friedman's The World is Flat. And it helped me understand that our kids aren't just competing here, but they're competing globally. And if we're competing globally, we have to ensure that our kids are capable of doing that. And in the U.S., and especially in Colorado, we're a leader in this green movement. Although in some ways we're behind the European Union in terms of creating a regulatory environment that allows for the growth of the green energy, the green economy, and the nurture of the green economy. But in terms of technology and boots on the ground, getting the job done, we're a leader in that. And so we have to kind of retool, especially our vocational education, to allow for our young people to be trained in the jobs necessary in the green sector, solar panel installers and the like. But we have to retool vocational training. And there's some models around the country where that's happened. For instance, in Milwaukee, there's been a partnership between the public school systems in Milwaukee and their local chamber of commerce and the local business groups to ensure that the vocational schools are providing the training necessary for the hot industries that are in Milwaukee at the time. And we need to do the same partnerships here in Colorado to ensure that our vocational training is acceptable. Even beyond vocational training, our kids who go to 4-year colleges and universities and on the graduate school have to have the professors and the resources here in Colorado to be able to engage in the high-tech jobs that come with the green economy that are heavily math, science, and engineering based. And so we have to continue to invest in higher ed, but even at the K-12 level, we need to invest more in bringing in high-quality math, science teachers so that our kids don't continue to fall behind in that area. And I'll get you next.
Thank you so much for spending this morning with us. I'm Jerry Todd from the Citizens Think Tank on Growing a Legacy Economy. I wonder when we talk about tax incentives to bring new business here, if in fact, if we look at the big picture, aren't we really getting in a competitive bidding war with other states? And by seducing a Michigan company here, we're further sabotaging Michigan's economy. And aren't we in fact better off focusing instead on growing industries here rather than seducing them from other places?
I don't believe that by providing tax incentives that we're seducing anyone. It sounds also sordid, really. But I don't think we're seducing anyone to come from Michigan or Indiana. And I think the tax incentives really do allow us to bring in, fresh ideas from other places, as well as to continue to grow and nurture the ideas that are generated here. I don't think that we should create an economy in Colorado that's insular, that has no outside influence and no outside input from some other state, Michigan or Indiana or Florida or Texas for that matter. I think it's important that we continue to attract companies and businesses from around the country that can bring fresh, innovative approaches to Colorado and kind of shake up our own insular thinking, because that does happen. when you have a group of people who are all kind of confined in one state and they all kind of communicate with each other, I think it's important for the system to have some type of outside influence. And I don't believe that, we're necessarily sabotaging Michigan when we do that. It's a competitive environment, and when you're in the business of creating jobs, the competition sometimes gets a little fierce, but there's no intent to sabotage Michigan. The intent is to continue to allow Colorado to be a place where the best ideas are grown and nurtured, and the best businesses come here to be sustained and to create the best jobs over the long term.
Chip Cummins with American Renewable Energy Day. Governor Ritter was elected on the New Energy Economy platform. President Obama also adopted that slogan in his campaign. How do you see the state of Colorado working with the new administration to advance new energy economy and continue to be a leader in the nation?
The question was, how do we see the state of Colorado working with the new administration to advance the new energy economy? That's actually a pretty easy one. President Obama actually borrowed a lot from Colorado in crafting his new energy economy agenda. He worked very closely with Governor Ritter and other folks in the state of Colorado to draft that agenda. And when you read his agenda carefully, it's almost everything that we're doing here in Colorado already. And that's because Colorado's been uniquely situated to be a front runner in this area. We already have NREL, which is going to be the key element of the federal government in terms of pushing forward the new energy economy. We have the Vestas wind power plants that are growing here in Colorado. Between CU and CSU and the School of Mines, our major research institutions, there's a significant amount of research going on in Colorado when it comes to the new energy economy. And ConocoPhillips is opening a new renewables lab here in Colorado as well. And so our agenda fits in nicely with what's happening in the federal government, and I suspect that the federal government will be following our lead when it comes to crafting any further advancements in the new energy economy. I'll take one more question, and I saw that hand over there first. The question is, will there be any more credits for incentives for people to buy green, essentially green products? And that's, to be honest, that's something that I don't believe we've really thought about, and it's probably something that we could probably spend some time thinking about, because we already have a program in Colorado that provides incentives for persons to purchase Colorado products. You've seen a little sticker, was it Colorado Proud by Colorado? And we already have incentives for that. And I believe 3 or 4 years ago, there was a bill passed in the legislature which provided a preference for green products and state procurement. And so I don't see a reason why we can't look at doing something like that. And Representative Judy Solano, who's been taking the lead in the House on these issues, would probably be a good person to talk to about that. Again, thank you all for being here and letting me chat with you for just a little bit.